We have Voltaire Tayag. Who is he? Who is he? No. He's Raptors contributor for pageants and everything else under the sun, actually. We have Bessie Bisana, former Miss World Philippines General Manager and fashion designer. Hello. We have Ricky Sotelo. He's a celebrity stylist.
Hi.
And of
Hi.
course, wala siyang corona. Dapat nagdala ka ng corona. Joke lang. We have Shamsi Supsup, Miss Universe Philippines 2011. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Raptor. Thank you for dropping by. Okay. We have a very easy, or I don't know, easy ba to or hard question. Who is the Filipina beauty queen?
Actually, it's a hard question talaga. There's really no definition, just one definition of a Filipina beauty queen. What I can say, sa past natin, whenever we see beauty queens that are produced by the Philippines, they're all very diverse.
That's true.
Coming from different culture, diba? Especially us in the Philippines, diba? We're a mix
Super
of
melting pot.
Yeah, melting pot of all culture, from Chinese to Spanish, American. So I always tell girls, there's really no definition that you have to follow this standard of a Filipina beauty queen. So what I like about what's happening now, parang we are not just looking at beauty queens as a person na parang maganda or sexy. Parang now there's really depth. We're looking for character. So that's what I like about it.
Expectations, actually. We'll talk about that later. But yes, very, very high expectations, I think, for our beauty queens in the Philippines, right?
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. Whether that's fair or not, we're going to talk about that later. But yeah, you wanted to add anything also?
Yeah, well, adding to what Shamsi said, aside from the physical aspect of what the Filipinas look like, one of the biggest things that I feel is very different, aside from the fact that the Filipina beauty queen really inspires the nation. They're celebrated. They're almost like that celebrity, at the same time social worker, because they need to be like that supermodel, but at the same time like very humble. But one of the biggest things that I've noticed is the fact that way back the Filipina beauty queen was always looked upon as somebody who was always perfect. You know, like there was a perfect veneer, like basta walang kapintasan. But what the Filipina beauty queens are now have become a lot more relatable.
That's true.
They want to show that their flaws are what make them real and make them human. And especially with Pia and Catriona, and actually with a lot of the other queens, maybe with the exception of Shamsi, who won the first time that she joined, a lot of them have shown that to become a Filipina beauty queen, you need a lot of patience, perseverance, and hard work, because they've joined not just once or twice, but you know they've experienced loss before they actually experience
Daming heartbreak muna.
the success that they have.
Ako naman, Bea, I've always told people that what separates a Filipina beauty queen from the rest is that it's their choice to become a Filipina beauty queen. Kasi lagi akong tinatanong na parang bakit yung mga ibang beauty queen natin are halfies or parang mixed blood like Catriona and Pia, but they chose to compete in the Philippines. As a matter of fact, if you were to ask me if they competed in Miss Germany and Miss Australia, where they are, you know, part of their lineage are, mas madadalian sila manalo. Pero they chose to be here because they chose to be a Filipina.
Yeah, and just rolling off what Bessie and Voltaire was saying, that I come to think of Catriona Gray, our very own Miss Universe, because she said it perfectly. She said, I represent Filipino beauty, but I also represent diverse Filipino beauty. And when I think of Filipino beauty queens, I think of every single Filipino we've sent out on the international stage. And you think like the past, 10 years we've sent to Miss Universe, like every single girl who made it into the top 5, top 10 are so different. You know, you start from Venus, Shamsi, Janine, and they have their own unique beauty. And yeah, like Voltaire was saying, like, you can't really pinpoint, you can't pigeonhole or label
That's
what
right.
the Filipino beauty is.
That's
It's so diverse.
Yeah, sure.
But that's an interesting point that you raised. Na it's about faculty. Like you choose. This is what you want.
This is where you choose to compete for, not your other part of your lineage, diba? Kasi like for example, I am very close to Pia, so I know for a fact that she can actually enter Miss Germany and actually win it. But she chose to join Binibini 3 times because her heart is Philippines.
It's actually harder though. I mean, I don't know. I don't observe pageants in other
I think
countries.
it's
but I
also
would
because
imagine
of her
it's-
experience.
Okay.
Kasi syempre when you're more experienced and you compete in a batch of mas hindi kasi super sobrang passionate yung mga Germans in terms of beauty pageants.
Right.
So Pia will probably have a easier time because
Right.
she's well polished
Right, right.
from a
right.
perspective of training.
Right,
So and I think that she chose to be a Filipina and she chose to be here. As a matter of fact, her family is not here anymore. They're living abroad, but she chose to be here alone because she wants to be a Filipina beauty queen.
Right.
A couple of years ago, I actually wrote an article, What is a Filipina or What is a Pinay Beauty? And because a lot of people sometimes, especially after like with Pia winning and then all of like the half-breeds winning the beauty pageants, there's some Filipinos who would say like, then next time gusto ko pure Pinay.
Right.
But I feel that that's...
Paano nga ba?
Yeah, I know. But I
Is
feel
there
like
such
that's
thing?
that's so unfair because I see a lot of the girls that are really, at heart, are so Filipino. But this is how I look at it. They're essentially both. They're essentially both Filipino and whatever their other half is. That's their mom and their dad. So it's almost like saying to them, who do you love more, your dad or your mom? You can't. That person is comprised of both. So they celebrate both. They are that. So I think it's unfair for anybody to question your being. And to me, I think it's so beautiful
That's right.
that these Filipinas celebrate that. And we should be very glad that we have such, not just like beautiful people, but just amazing personalities that show to the entire world, like, okay, Filipinos aren't like the stereotype na, maliit, ako pala yun. That they're short or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you have like all these Filipinas around the world that they look up to like when people like Shamsi go to Miss Universe and then they see them, and then you're like in your own little world where you're working, and then your coworkers like you'll be proud to say that's Filipina.
Totoo.
That's part of the joy of seeing them on the international stage.
True.
Yeah. And you also have people working here in the industry who have no Filipino blood, but they label themselves Pusong Pinoy. So it makes it even more confusing, right?
Like you.
Kasi halo-halo na nga naman tayo. I just want to touch also on that point kanina. Ang taas ng expectation sa Filipina beauty queen. Hindi lang sapat na maganda ka.
Yes.
Hindi lang sapat na sexy ka, kailangan matalino ka, kailangan well-spoken ka.
Yeah.
Has that always been an expectation for the Filipina beauty queen, or is it like a modern phenomenon na the running joke nga is that Filipinos are more scrutinized beauty queens more than politicians sometimes,
That's true.
right? Is that recent, or has that always been the case?
Ako, I would like to pick up on my experience when I started when I started in the pageant industry in 2005. So I have a friend who enrolled in Binibini and she actually got in as a candidate. And then, of course, I was supporting her. And she's really beautiful. Tapos, kung nasa college kami talagang, pag naglakad siya, tumitingin yung mga tao, ganyan.
Diyosa level.
But when I went to Binibini, and then I saw the candidates, and then I saw this girl, her name is Jonah Cabrera, and she just speaks so well, stands so gracefully. Sabi ko, shucks, this is my winner. Like, even I have a friend who entered, I'm pro Jonah because at that time, in my humble opinion, not a lot of women of, let's say, good background really delve into beauty pageants. So to see somebody like Jonah Cabrera join in 2005 is already like an achievement from the beauty pageant industry. But nowadays, when you look at the contestants, graduates of like good schools or people who came from studying abroad, tapos bumalik dito just to go into the pageants, from UP, from UST, good schools talaga sila. So nakakagulat din na parang marami nang sumasali ngayon. So the expectations become higher and a lot more people became more interested to join rather than just, leave it to the other beautiful ladies.
Yeah. Tsaka I guess na-elevate din yung, because of that, na-elevate
Yes.
din yung awareness. Like you go beyond the hardcore pageant fans.
Exactly.
You go to the casual fans. You go to people on Twitter, for better or worse.
I always say it's like that book by Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers. Filipinos have become outliers when it comes to beauty pageants. Like they say, like to become an expert at anything, you spend over 10,000 hours. I think we've spent more than 10,000 hours.
Yes.
Obsessing and trading about becoming beauty queens. That's how.
Collectively,
That's
individually.
why now we're at that point where suddenly, everybody's like, wow, why are the Filipinos suddenly so great? Like, no, it didn't come overnight.
Yes,
Throughout all these decades, throughout the years where we were struggling, we still kept believing in every single girl that we sent, even if they didn't make it, even if they struggled in the international scene. We pushed them, we encouraged them, and when they came back, we were still loving them and we were still celebrating them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why now, to see the success after all these years, that's all come into like fruition. That's kind of like the reward.
That's true.
Siguro ako, based on my experience, kasi talaga I have had no background in pageants. I just watch it on TV. And coming from an outsider, like looking at pageants, talaga ang tingin ko talaga sa mga girls, like, oh, they're just there, they're just beautiful, parang wala namang laman yung mga yan. Alam mo yun, that's how people think, di ba? Parang during that time, when I was still watching when I was a kid, parang, especially during Q&A, di ba, we're very, grabe tayo mag-criticize to the girls. So we feel like, oh, they're just beautiful. But when I joined the pageant world, I realized I had parang nagkaroon ng 360 yung opinions ko na parang, oh, this is what it takes to become a beauty queen. And I feel now na ang dami nang sumasali because they feel na hindi na degrading to be called a beauty queen. Kasi mas aware na tayo that beauty queens are not just, you know, just statues of beautiful girls strutting their faces and their body on stage. But these are people with, you know, with a purpose, with a character, and that hindi na pwedeng stereotype na, pag babae, hindi pwedeng, alam mo yun, even in the workplace, like for me, I'm an architect, pag you're in the construction, pag babae ka, parang hindi ka siseryosohin, hindi ka papakinggan. So parang now, we are more vocal, we are more, parang sinasabi natin na don't judge me na because of my looks. Parang, hindi dahil beauty queen ako, wala na ako ibang pwedeng gawin.
Right.
So yun yung masaya. Yun yung gusto ko i-celebrate. And whenever I see young girls na they want to be beauty queens, I always tell them that, you know, being a beauty queen is not just, you know, being beautiful and being on stage. And it's not gonna be an end in itself. It has to be a stepping stone or to catapult you to something even better. To be using that, you know, that platform and that voice.
It is a platform.
Diba? To do something well with your life and to do something for other people.
Yes.
That's a lot of pressure, especially for young women.
Actually, it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to
The
take.
courage to join,
Right.
ang lalim ng pinaghuhugutan nila rather than before, oh, maganda ka, sali ka. Ganun eh. Ngayon talaga, bago ka sumali, you internalize na gusto ko ba talaga to?
Kasi handa ka ba sa bashers?
Handa ka ba?
Handa ka ba sa haters? Handa ka ba sa
Totoo.
intense scrutiny?
It
Like
is.
not just like I think the scrutiny sa pageant level is okay, but the scrutiny outside the
Right.
pageant, it can be kind of destructive even, I think. From
It can.
It is.
more thoughtless people, you know,
Yes.
with their words.
I agree.
So, what do you think are the misconceptions? I think that's one thing, obviously, yung hindi sapat ang ganda. I don't know if people still don't understand that until now. Ewan ko na lang. Pero obviously, hindi talaga sapat ang ganda lang. Ganon sa pageants, especially in the Philippines. What other things you think people don't understand
I
about the
was just
industry?
going to say, Shamsi, I think she broke that misconception when she competed.
Right.
Because, I'm not just saying that because you're here.
Dita.
Later, I'll give you alam mo na.
But yeah, I remember like I was just telling her before that I was watching her and I knew nothing about pageants, and she came on stage and they said that she was an architect and she graduated magna cum laude, and I was like, wow, you know, I was like, is that for real? You know, like I'm watching Miss Universe and she, you know, we have this really smart girl, but she's also very beautiful at the same time. So I felt like she paved the way that it's cool and beautiful to be smart, you know, and you know that's I think probably that the biggest misconception in beauty pageants that girls are just stupid or dumb.
Yeah.
Because I think the public, the viewers, judge girls straight away when they make mistakes on the stage.
Right.
But what they don't see is that backstage they're interviewed and they're given like really they're given hard questions, you know, like topics that are, you know, impacting the world today, and I think that's what people don't see.
Right.
Adding to what Rick said, I always tell people na hindi porket hindi ka nakasagot sa
Yes.
pageant, is hindi ka matalino. A lot of the girls are actually very intelligent, but when you're on stage, you have a pressure.
I can't even imagine.
You have 30 seconds to give your opinion.
Right.
In a
It's
swimsuit.
very hard.
30 seconds for complicated issues.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like these aren't just like
On the spot.
these are world, political
Yeah.
questions even
No,
nowadays.
I
right?
also say, like, you're asking somebody who's like 20 years old in 6-inch heels, 2-piece swimsuit, that a politician who's been serving for 30 years can't solve
even
that,
answer.
and you're gonna have her answer it in 30
Yes,
seconds.
yes.
That's
Kaya ang
ridiculous.
taas ng respeto ko sa mga beauty queen who are able to deliver well.
Yes.
Because I always tell people, it's not just about the intelligence, but it's the technique on how you answer and to give your answer in like 5 sentences at max.
30 seconds is not a
nothing.
lot.
So yun nga, kasi sometimes we just watch the pageant.
Yes.
And we based our judgment on the pageant itself, but we never see what happens before that, and we never really talk to the girls. And tama, it's really hard na sabihin mo, you gauge their capacity to answer just on that question. Kaya nga, importante ngayon na may mga closed-door interview because
Yes.
it's a different setting eh.
Yeah,
Iba yung you're in front of a lot of people. And ako, I experienced this even in Miss Universe. I was really, really nervous when I got in the top 5 because I wasn't really expecting to go that far.
Shocks. Ito
So
na
I
yun.
remembered I was on stage, and when they announced the top 5 kasi, magka-commercial break, and you think you have time like to go down and just wala, you have to stay on stage.
Awkwardly while people
While,
are there.
yes, while waiting for that kasi to live eh. So hindi siya yung parang you have time. So we were like standing there waiting for the commercial to finish, and after that it's Q&A, and I was asking for water kasi it was super dry. And they said
on stage na for a long
yes.
time at this point.
And then I was like, can we have water? Said they cannot bring water daw because the floor might daw, you get slippery. So ako, there's nothing like so nagdala sila with a straw and everything. So lahat ng girls and when you were asked, yung parang, oh my goodness, what will be asked of me? And it's true ha. We never get an idea of what questions are gonna be asked. So
Not
isipin-
even like a general guide na,
nothing,
oh my
nothing. So, iisipin mo, political ba ito? Personal ba ito? About the environment ba ito? Or anything na controversial ba ito? Or something that I really don't know? So, you just pray and hope that what
sana may
questions,
idea ka man lang.
man lang, so you can say something about it. And it really ang bilis eh, na parang you don't even have time to compose yourself. Like, what will I say? So,
Because you're just walking and the next thing you know, andun na yung tanong.
So parang, it's really the hardest part in a beauty pageant, even for me.
How did you even prepare for that?
So,
Yun nga, you had no idea what they would be asking. you
yeah, so
totally.
what I did, I would really read, practice. And they would always say, there are questions that, get asked again and again and again. So you have to be prepared for that. But the hardest part is being aware of the current events that are happening in your country or in the world. And there are times talaga na you just have to pray that, you were able to read. Because I would ask my friends, naalala ko to, I had an email thread. And I would tell my
Yeah, your
classmates,
friends would just
guys,
give you
please
info."
send me articles that I could read.
Yeah, so at least ma-digest na lang.
Yes, or if I cannot answer one very parang hirap na tanong eh. Like I don't even know how to say or how to answer this kasi parang you're expected to have an opinion on everything, but ikaw ba may opinion like
Yeah.
black or white,
Yeah.
yellow or di ba?
In 30 seconds
yes,
for more.
Parang what I do is that I ask people that I think who has more knowledge and experience on this topic, and I will ask them, tingin mo, what can you say
What's your
about
possible
this?
answer? Yeah.
Oo. So I asked them to answer questions for me. And I would read it and I would choose what I like.
Right.
Kasi hindi naman pwedeng lahat talaga may opinion
No,
ka.
and people
diba?
have to remember that you don't just study. You have activities every day leading
Yes.
up to pageant night,
Yes.
right? And that's exhausting. I don't think you sleep properly. Do you?
No,
Oh,
wala.
so-
Pero sabi ko nga sa mga girls, whenever I parang may mga workshops, I always tell them, it's really about knowing who you
Who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard because feeling natin, because it is us, we know. Kasi kasama natin
But
parati.
when you're in your early 20s, you don't know who
So
you
you're
are.
right.
You're
I
still
always tell them,
figuring
you
out who
write
you are.
everything.
Yeah.
You have a
I'm still figuring out
journal.
who I am.
So parang, ano ba yung gusto ko? Parang, saan ba, if papipiliin ako, saan ko gustong tumira? Bakit? mas gusto ko bang malamig o mainit? Bakit? So you have to constantly ask yourself so that you get to know yourself. Parang whenever you meet somebody, di ba, you ask them questions so that you learn who they are. So same with yourself, you ask questions to yourself and you write it down. Then the more you know about yourself, the more confident you are. And whatever questions are gonna be thrown at you, you'll have an answer kasi kilala mo na, alam mo na.
Ako naman, Bea, I think ang ma-add ko on that is that that's the reason why camps are very important in the Philippines as people perceived it.
Okay.
Because in beauty pageant camps, they prepare these things.
Right.
Kasi nga, gaya na sabi ko kanina, not everybody could answer something in 30 seconds. So, there are techniques that you teach. Like, during earlier years, like yung mga time nila before Shamsi, there were actually structures and questions on Binibini. And kami, I came from, my roots are from Aces and Queens.
Yeah.
So, nung kami nun, isa-isa siya. Parang, there's gonna be something about love. There's something that's gonna be about family. At nung
So
unang
from the
panahon,
set, from the set
you review the previous Binibini Pilipinas. So, there will always be questions
Parang
about
board
these things.
exam.
This
Parang
is
siyang board
such
exam. Yeah. So, and sino lang makakagawa ng mga papers na yun, kundi somebody who's very passionate and was followed
Who
beauty
will bother
pageants.
to
And
rewatch
we're very lucky that in our camp before, there was a person, his name is Tito Nad, who was also a trainer of a lot of beauty queens, na talagang hinimayin niya lahat yon. Tapos after that, titignan niya yung gauge mo as a capacity as a person to be able to answer. So if you're that person na parang talagang magaling ang conversationalist, like sila Shamsi, sila Nicole Cordobes, iba yung technique mo. When you're somebody naman like Ara na, she has a lot of ideas, pero medyo nahihiya siya magsalita. Iba rin yung technique niya. So, per person, it differs from, it varies talaga.
Customized.
It's customized
Yeah,
talaga.
you really have to look at the
Because
individual.
you adjust to the
Yes.
individual.
Yes.
Tama. You don't force her
them,
into a mold.
And then when you escalate to Miss Universe, that's a different story altogether. Kasi the topics there are different from the
Right.
Philippines.
Kasi
They will
it becomes
never
global.
probably ask you about Philippine politician topics, di ba? But in Miss Universe, they will ask you about world topics.
Right.
So you have to escalate as well your level of knowledge about world issues.
Actually, because like with me, I was never part of any camp. But then there was a lot of girls that would come up to me, and I do, coach or mentor some of the girls. I actually came up with the same thing.
Meron ka ding
Yes, I do
structure.
have like my Q&A thing, and I have subgroups. You have stuff on the environment, and they have stuff about on being a woman, and then about the organization. And then the hardest for me in those subtopics are the fantasy questions, or fantasy questions.
fantasy
If,
questions?
if you could have dinner with anybody,
Yes.
alive or whatever, or who's your favorite author? What's your favorite book?
kasi sobrang
Because I always say it's
general
like,
niya.
or like,
And
what's
it
your
says a
favorite
lot about who
movie?
you are.
Yung mga ganon. Because it has to say something about you, but then it also has something.
And it's so specific kasi.
Yes.
So
But
you
then
have to
also has
think
to be
about it.
ma-relate yung mga tao, di ba? Parang, ang hirap, and it's tricky.
Yeah, but it was a winning question with Miss USA. They asked her if there was anything wild that you can do, what would you do?
Right.
And she won, and she said, because she was so sincere, she said that she would eat everything in the world twice.
Yeah.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah.
I
Miss
remember
Universe,
that
yeah.
And it was
27.
that was a fantasy question.
Yes.
But
It was witty.
yes,
very
but because
witty.
it was real, it was sincere, and it was funny.
Right.
So
That's
that's why she won.
Ako naman ang always feedback ko, hirap na hirap ang mga Filipina umanswer ng moral question. Because we're always on the right side of things. So anything about
Yung ambiguities
sexuality, religion, yan medyo takot yung mga taong sumagot. So I was actually very surprised that for the first time in history in Binibini Pilipinas, there was a question about transgender women in Binibini last Sunday.
Wala ba before?
Halos they don't touch on these very tricky questions.
So it's also a matter of these pageants pushing the envelope, no?
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
daring to touch
They have
topics they
to.
used to be afraid of.
And
I'm guessing.
that girl, if she answered not
Better.
popularly, she could be bashed.
That's true.
Yeah, no, a lot of questions from the last Binibini actually, parang nung tinanong pa naman ko, oh my gosh, no matter how you answer, somebody will
Somebody will
Yeah.
have a problem with your. I'm wondering also because we already started talking about joining. What do you tell girls who say na I want to join? How do you assess na parang
Ayan,
go
go
girl,
Bessie.
go girl, or maybe
Go
you
girl.
or you tell a girl na mag-train ka muna, or you tell a girl, how do you even tell a girl na parang baka wag? Can you even tell a
Do
person?
I answer that?
Yes.
Alright. So when people come up to me, kasi dalawa talaga yung way to discover a girl. It's either na-discover siya or lumapit siya to join. So yun talaga yung two ways niyan. Every time that I see a potential girl, talagang you encourage that most of the time those girls doesn't have the courage or the strength to be able to do it. I think Shamsi will be one of them. Yung medyo reluctant siya.
Pero kami yung lumapit.
Oo.
Kasi hindi ako ma-discover, nasa construction ako, diba? So, paano ko ma-discover?
Literally in a hard
You need
hat.
somebody to push you, which is my
Yes.
mom.
So that was the mom. But when she came into the door, as we saw her, I was like, she's a beauty queen.
Ayan na.
Yes. And then, may iba naman talaga na talagang yung mga from the roots, 16 years old, 14, nagsa-start na sila mag-pageant. You also tell them, are you rich enough to be able to compete?
Financially.
Not financially, but are you rich enough already on experience?
Experience.
Kasi a lot of them, sa sobrang focus nila on beauty pageants, that's the only thing that they do. They don't
So they
enrich
forgot to
themselves.
live an
Exactly.
actual life.
That's why there are girls that I
Really
have
sad.
worked with in the
Yeah.
province na nanalo ng mga Tiana Batangas, Miss La Union.
yeah.
But I don't feel that they're ready yet. So I always encourage them to finish your studies, get more work experience. That's why you can see most of the contestants nowadays are 24 and above.
Yeah.
A lot of contestants this year are 26,
Yes.
27.
Before 18-year-olds.
19,
19.
yeah.
Most common age for Miss Universe Philippines that time was 22.
So now
Actually,
we're
Shamsi, yung
average age.
nag-stop nung 22, pero
Yeah.
for the longest
25
time.
na ako noon.
Oo.
nagsumali ako.
But when she was there, she was more of a woman.
Yeah.
Kasi she had experience.
Kasi ang dami mo nang pinagdaanan rin. As a,
Actually, to add on it, yun din ang lagi kong advice to girls that finish your studies first, be more mature, because not just with the pageant, not just to win the pageant and be able to answer questions or be full of personality and character, but it's really being able to handle everything
Totoo.
emotionally. Because if you're very young and you're put on that position,
I can only
ako,
imagine.
hirap ako because I'm an introvert and I don't like to be talking to strangers. I'm not really
Well, me
the
too, Shamsi.
outgoing. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm not an outgoing person. I remembered when in Binibini, I would hide from
Literally, are you?
reporters. I would let everybody go first before I leave the dressing room.
Yes.
So I had a lot of bashers before na, Shams is just not, she's not as nice as Venus, or she's not.
They perceived you as a snob because
Yes.
of how shy you were,
Because
introverted you were.
I'm scared to talk to people, and I feel like whenever I speak, I'm being judged, and I don't like that. I don't like that feeling, and it takes a while. So feeling ko, if I was younger pa, baka talagang I would
devastating
really
yun, ah.
close my na parang, you have to be really mature, because if not, you will lose yourself because there's so many things, so many people would tell you what to do. You read it on the internet, syempre now social media, you read so many things, and sometimes you're at a loss, like, who should I follow? Like, some say dapat mas ganito ka. Tapos isa naman, opposite yung sinasabi. So I would always tell girls, just listen to people who matter.
It's true. But that also came at a time when the organizations themselves were also shifting the message that they were sending out. That's when they were trying to, send a message of relevance, sending a message that we're looking for the empowered woman. That's why the word empowered suddenly is there. It's in the forefront. But then, as I look at it now, and ako kasi personally, when I assess for the past how many years they've been pushing for that, I'm all for that, and it's all well and good. But then there's a part of me that kind of feels bad for some of the girls that, because the importance or the words like the status, the career, the degree, those are the words that are given more emphasis and importance, and the emphasis is there. And suddenly I'm thinking, but wait, what if this young woman just wants to be a housewife or wants to be a model? There's nothing wrong with wanting to just be a model. So I feel like there should be a balance at this point where not everybody can be a scientist.
All kinds of
For me, because
dreams,
empowerment
I guess,
simply has to be the woman has a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a scientist or a lawyer or an architect or a CEO. They can choose. I feel that sometimes the message can get lost along the way. And like an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old who wants to be a mom, and she can be like the best mom in the world, and that's like the most difficult job, and I'm sure you can say this, and that's the most noble job ever that a woman can do, is to become a mother. And I feel that there needs to be a little bit more emphasis on that, and I think particularly in Miss USA, because being a first world country, they tend to overemphasize
Right.
on that
Miss USA
movement.
right now is a lawyer, right?
Yeah. So I feel like the pendulum and the momentum has swung a little bit too much.
That's true.
So I like swing it back a
Maybe
little.
it's also a factor of the organizations being more inclusive na parang, baka may naiwan
Oo, pero-
in our rush to move
Pero
forward.
sumobra ng konti.
Baka may naiwan tayo or baka may na-exclude tayo na hindi natin sinadya. Parang baka ganon.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I think it's also a function of them figuring out kung ano sila in this day and age.
Yeah,
right?
siguro kasi
Mm,
ano
sila
eh,
rin.
like in the Philippines, even in India, there's like a movie, I forgot the title of it, na parang we always put so much emphasis on the titles.
Yeah.
Like, are you an attorney?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a doctor? But if you're not anything dun sa tatlong yon or engineer, parang wala, hindi ka na
So, sino
successful.
ka?
Hindi ka successful. That's
Yeah.
really hard. So parang sasabi ngayon ni Voltaire is that in beauty pageants, sometimes masyadong
There's an
nagko-compete
obsession na toward-
to their credentials
Yeah.
rather than the potential of this beauty queen. Na parang, what if her dreams nga are different from the other girls? What if she wants to live in the province?
Yeah, that
She's
doesn't
more in
diminish
the
her
nature.
dreams.
Doesn't make her less of an individual.
Exactly.
Right.
Than the girls who are really, career-oriented
Yeah,
and they're achieving a lot of
Yeah.
things, di ba? Parang, sometimes yun na nga, pag
a good
sinabing
point.
empowered, baka
Yeah,
masyadong
it is.
nagiging,
Yeah.
ano tayo, mas naglilimit tayo ngayon
Yes.
ng girls.
Oo.
That are, parang marami nang ayaw sumali because they feel like,
Di
Ay,
na
kulang
pwede.
ako.
may
Oo.
kulang
Yeah,
sa
yeah,
akin.
yeah.
And I've heard that. with
For some of the
like
girls
some of the
who
younger
wanted-
ones.
that's a little
I'm
sad,
not yet
actually.
ready or like I'm not yet full as a woman, mga ganon. Pero totoo yun. Actually, medyo na-hit din ako doon. na, Paano kung dream mo talaga maging nanay?
Oh.
Diba? May mga
It's
women
about
talaga like
choice
that.
kasi.
Kasi hindi na siya emphasized or hindi na siya glamorized, I guess, in
Yeah.
the...
But again, it's the most noble job in the world, right?
Yeah. It's interesting.
It has to do with like the feminism aspect also.
I think it's a double-edged sword topic,
Yeah.
which snowballs into feminism.
Yeah.
Because I think what's happening in the world, politically speaking, I think with the movement, especially Me Too, which was asked
Right.
at last year's Miss Universe.
Universe, yeah.
I think now with beauty pageants, I think they're slowly, and I agree what Voltaire was saying about how the pendulum has swung quite a bit too much, and they should just bring it back a notch. Where not every woman can be a scientist or a dental surgeon or a neurologist. Some want to be mothers. And there's nothing wrong with that.
But that's interesting kasi yung high standards, yung unreal expectations natin for women, nag-change. Andun pa rin, pero nag-shift na siya ng konti. Mahirap maging babae.
All the more mas mahirap maging beauty queen.
No, because I've covered, well, not as intensely, but I've covered several pageants, and it's crazy, like the hard work that you pour into preparations, the tears that the girls shed when they fail to make it. So yun, going back to the question of, if you want to be a beauty queen in the Philippines, what must you do? Should you join a camp? Is it a must? Catriona, when she won, she wasn't in a camp anymore. Is she a super outlier lang talaga na kinaya niya?
It depends because si Catriona, when she joined Binibini, she's already a beauty queen.
Yeah.
So she had trainings
Yeah.
prior to that.
Right.
Pero ako, I would always say, if I did not go into a camp, for sure, baka I won't make the cut.
Right.
Pa. I mean, even like the official candidates, kasi the camps or like the people, these are camps, coaching,
Yeah.
you ask for advice.
Right.
So parang, you need people who are expert on that to
Right.
teach you what to do. Kasi if you're there lang na pupunta ka lang din, tapos hindi mo alam what's gonna happen on that day, hindi ka prepared. Even like in an interview, di ba? When you go for a job interview, you still prepare. You have to have an idea what's gonna happen there. So
And it's an industry on its own na
Yes.
you might not
So sa
understand
akin,
if you're an outsider.
it's important that you prepare before you join a pageant. And it really helped me a lot talaga. Kasi, with no experience, it's gonna be hard for you to really compete with other girls, diba?
Even make sense of the world of pageants kasi ang
No,
overwhelming talaga.
Especially now, if you notice, in social media, it's a completely different world
I
with the
know.
pasabog shots. I'm
Tsaka parang
yung
it's a
mga
must
pasabog
na, no?
shots nila, naloloka ako because it's like, wait, guys, don't focus too much. Because sometimes the girls get so stressed over their pasabog
Yes.
shots, their outfits of the day. I'm like, guys, when you get to the Binibini office, they're gonna make you change into your your drag
Exactly.
jeans and then your Binibini shirt. They're not gonna see the outfit of the day. That's gonna be your posting. So it's like, don't spend so much energy on that. But then there's that whole side of like the glam team, your whole
Exactly.
makeup team. So having a camp that provides that makes it a lot easier. You have access.
You have access to that.
to that.
Yeah.
But if you're, let's say, a model who
you
has
might
those
have
people,
the resources.
you have a little bit of that option or that choice not to go with the camp,
I see,
so that there's not too many voices telling you this and that.
Right.
But you know, again, ultimately, it's about the choice that the woman makes.
What
the
makes you
candidate-
comfortable.
Tsaka kasi ngayon, di ba, ang hirap na. Kasi during our time, walang ganyan. Walang
Oo,
pasabog.
group lang talaga.
Kasi ngayon, di ba,
alam mo,
parang it's a
concern-
must to be on social media. You
Yes.
have to have a following.
Dati yung
Gosh.
concern ko, sabi ko, ay, ayoko nang tumuloy. Kasi sabi ko, wala na akong susuotin. Kasi every time may event, bibili
Ang
ako ng
simple na
damit.
problema dati
Ang simple
compared
ko,
to
diba?
ngayon.
Tapos sabi sa akin, huwag ka mag-alala. Once official candidates na, jeans and top
Yes.
from
T-shirt
them.
na.
So sabi, hindi mo na kailangan problema. Kasi ayoko talaga bumibili. Kasi magastos, diba?
We're
Kasi
frugal.
walang ano eh. Wala naman kaming parang stylist, wala kaming mga glam team eh. So, but now, I think more pressure kasi we're creating a different world on social media.
Yeah.
Na parang, some
It's
people
a
just
pageant
base-
on its own
Yes.
sometimes,
To
right?
think na whatever you see there doesn't necessarily reflect what's happening inside Binibini.
Right.
Absolutely.
Kasi sometimes yung mga sikat on social media doesn't mean na they're
They're
doing
doing
well.
well. Yeah.
Impressing
in the
the people who
pageant.
they must impress.
Pero ang hirap talaga now. Not just for beauty pageants as a whole. Like, tayo gumagawa tayo ng sariling social media world. That's really not necessarily what's really happening in our lives, di ba?
Just running off what Shamsi is saying, I'm an amateur compared to these guys. I mean, I've only been doing this 3 years in the working with beauty queens. But I've noticed nowadays, especially this year, that almost every girl has their own glam team.
They do, no? Parang all of them do now.
And you know, and it's amazing because they've actually prepared this. And I think you can blame Catriona for this. You know, the Catriona effect.
The Catriona effect. That's
Kumbaga,
because
ano, ginalingan niya
she-
masyado.
yeah, she was
Ginalingan
dubbed-
ni girl.
She was dubbed the most prepared beauty
Yes.
queen ever.
Yeah, that's
Does she
true.
have PowerPoints
Yeah.
for her outfits?
Actually, ako naman, ang take ko naman dyan, it's a choice of the woman.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because some girls actually strive or parang do very well in a group environment. So where you're in a group environment and you train for question and answer, you actually pick up points and ideas from other girls,
You learn from
right?
your
But when
fellow,
you're
yeah.
alone, when you have your own group,
Yeah.
and then you don't have somebody to say compare yourself with,
Right,
so
right.
parang medyo tricky din siya. And there's no cookie cutter option.
Of course.
Kasi like for example this year, the winner is Gazini and she is from KF. The second crown went to Patch and she was from ACES.
Yeah.
And yet there's this another girl who I felt that did very well this year but didn't place, which is Masbates, Hannah Arnold, and she didn't have a camp. So hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na pag ganito, ito yung mananalo. So there's no such thing anymore as a cookie cutter way to do it, but there are people talaga that are willing to help you out.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's a camp, if it's an individual, minsan nga yung iba, kapatid pa nila yung tumutulong sa kanila.
Right.
So wala na talaga siyang parang exact formula to it, to go there. And most of the time, like gaya nga ng sabi ni Rick, the Catriona effect, you create your own path.
Yeah.
Like which Catriona did.
Correct,
Yes.
yeah. And each girl now with their glam team or their team, they're trying to create their own brand.
Exactly.
You know? And I would tell this to the girls that, you know, you guys can take as many photo shoots as you want. You can take the most kabog photo shoots.
Kabogera.
Kabogera, yeah. But you know, if you don't know yourself, and if you lose your, let's say, individuality, you'll get lost up on the stage, and it has happened. Yeah, I'm not going to mention who, but
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you know,
it's just
Later.
yeah.
Tayo-tayo
You
lang.
might be drowned out by
Yes.
the glamour. Baka
Yeah.
maunahan ka pa ng
Absolutely.
glamour.
No, actually, I was telling Rick about it before. We
Yeah.
ran into each other at the mall, and I told him, it's like, one of my issues with some, and as appreciative as I am with the glam teams, because they really do have the best of intentions. But sometimes yung iba, they get lost in their own dream of becoming like, yung parang, ito yung gagawin ko.
Stars
Kung
in
nasa
their
Vogue
own.
ako, ito yung
Yeah.
gagawin ko. And yung parang gusto nila maging stylist sa totoong buhay or whatever. And then, they do these editorial shoots for the girl that doesn't fit the girl.
Exactly.
It doesn't fit them.
It's not their personality.
Oo,
Yes.
tapos parang nagmumukhang kawawa the candidate because it doesn't reflect who she is. The glam team should highlight the beauty of the
It's
candidate.
about the candidate.
It's about them. It's not about the glam team.
Ako, I want to share something very personal, and I only experienced it when I was doing Miss World Philippines. So when I was doing the pageant, so I was the general manager. Syempre lahat ng girls, they talk to me as their manager in the pageant. And then there's this one girl who, a week prior to the competition, the coronation night, came up to me and told me, "Sir, wala pa po akong gown." Sabi ko, ha? Siyempre, from an organizer perspective, medyo na-stressed ako kasi parang I have to deal with that. Then I asked her, "Girl, bakit wala kang gown?" Sabi niya, "Because the glam team that was helping me out, all of a sudden just decided to pull out because they think that I'm not gonna win."
Wow.
So parang I was
Not
so crushed for the girl.
Yeah.
Kasi that was her dream, to compete in Miss World Philippines. And she really wanted to do very well. She's a very good person, nakakatawa talaga siya. So, nawasak yung puso ko. So sometimes, sinasabi ko din sa mga ibang tao, hinay-hinay din. Kasi ako din naman, nag-aalaga din naman ako ng girl. Like for example, this year, I took into my arms Jessica Marasigan, who was one of the top 15 finalists. And some of my group mates, minsan gigil na gigil sila na yung girl na pe-pressure na.
That was a beautiful gown, by the way.
Thank you.
was
And I was
really
telling
nice.
them, let her be. Like parang, hayaan nyo kung ano yung gusto niya, makinig din tayo dun sa babae. Kasi minsan pag masyado nang gigil na gigil yung glam team, they make a different person out of the person.
Yes.
And that I don't like. I really want the girl to be highlighted. That's why I always pull it back. And unfortunately, there are some girls na hindi na nagagawa. Yung like the girl that I was talking about, nawala na siya. Baga she lost herself in the process because the team that she made naman, medyo na disalign na. So I always encourage the handlers or yung mga glam team na you work with the girl. Don't make the girl. Work with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
distinction.
philosophy has always been mentoring by empowering. Because how can you
Same.
be an empowered woman when you can't even decide if you're going to wear your hair up or hair down?
Exactly.
If you can't decide if
Or
you're going to
some glam
slit or no
teams
slit,
that-
serpentina,
Or some
or you know.
glam teams, but that like
Yeah, you can't
it's-
dictate. Like, you know, you can, the glam team or your camp or
Can
your
only
trainer.
parang
Guide,
recommend
yes,
and guide you, but
suggest,
still
yeah.
it has to. I always tell the girls, in the end, you're the one competing.
Yes.
You're the one going on stage.
Exactly.
Parang, what will make you more confident?
Absolutely.
Don't think about what they say. They say your
Exactly.
hair should be up, your eyes should be blue. What do you want? What do you like? What do you feel better in? Diba?
Most
Kasi,
beautiful.
diba? Kasi it will reflect on stage eh.
exactly.
Kasi diba, you're gonna be thinking, did I did it right? Parang tama ba yung gawa ko?
Yes.
Magagalit
If you're second guessing
Yes.
even how you're
So
doing
dapat,
things, yeah.
Sabi ko sa girls, you know, everything here, it's really to help you, 'di ba? Be more confident. So kung hindi ka confident dun sa dapat maging mas ka, like voice out your opinions then.
Right.
Na don't let people like parang
Dictate.
drown you in all their na parang para ka na lang puppet going on stage.
Hindi pwede maging
You know, as a
manipulative.
stylist, I work with a few, of the beauty queens, and when I first meet them, I kind of want to talk to them
Right.
first. I want to
So
get to know them.
you get
So
to
yeah, I have a good
understand.
idea
Yeah,
of what
yeah,
their personality is like,
Right.
because I always tell the girls, like from based on what I know of you, I think this looks great on you.
Right.
But you also have to tell me what you like, what you feel comfortable in, and so we can meet in the middle. Because like what you guys were saying, the glam team, we're not trying to change the girls. I think that's what they should really instill and tell these girls, because sometimes they get what Walter was saying, they get lost.
Right.
They get excited, they get giggle.
Giggle.
They get giggle, yeah.
And to add to that naman, some of the relationships naman are very successful. I would like to give an example of Jessa Yular.
Yeah.
So I met Jessa in 2016. She's a very simple girl from Davao. Medyo mahiyain magsalita kasi sinasabi niya sa akin, barok yung Tagalog niya kasi nga sanay siya magbisaya saka English. And then, a couple of years after she tried, joining Binibini, she met this guy, as a stylist, and he's a friend of mine as well, named Vico. And si V, iba yung vision niya for Jessa. But she worked with her. So what happened was, she encouraged Jessa that, eto yung vision ko for you. We will style you that you are avant-garde. We will style you na parang very fashion. Na pag nakita ka ng mga tao, they will not wear it, but they will love it.
I see.
Right? So it worked. Because
Yeah.
Jessa was ready.
Yes.
Oh, and she was
Yes.
also,
She
parang
was
nag-compromise din
game.
sila.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
game for it. So every time that she comes, sinasabi talaga ng mga ibang binibini sa akin, parang, nasa-stress kami kay Jessa kasi sobrang ready siya. Like parang we also have to be ready on our own. So parang yung sinasabi ko na parang dapat gusto din ng babae. And si Jessa, she didn't get lost because she was ready for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She wanted it as well.
Hindi yung pinilit lang sa kanya.
But that was a very interesting relationship kasi had not there been a Vico, there will not be a new 3.0 Jessa Yun.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Agree.
right. Okay. Tinatime na ako ng
sorry.
cameraman natin.
Napapasaya ang kwentuhan.
To wrap things up, okay, this is a difficult question, I think. How do you even choose who gets to represent the Philippines where? Because almost all pageants in the Philippines have several titles under them, so they send girls to different international pageants. How do you know which girl to send to Miss International, Miss Globe? I don't know. How do you decide?
Ako first and foremost, I would like to work on a technicality.
Okay.
So for pageant, there's a different set of criteria.
Yeah.
Especially before, na nag-iiba-iba yung criteria. When you're 27, you can only compete for Miss Universe in Binibini before. When you're 25 below, you can compete for international. So if a girl is 26, then that's gonna be a whole different story. If she places first, then she cannot go to Universe. However, having said that, if she places second, she cannot go to international because she's not eligible. Having said that, I think the international competitions also realize these changes in the industry. So a lot of the pageants actually increase their age. Including Miss Universe was 28, Miss International is 27, so medyo nag-adjust na rin siya. So technicalities-wise, doon ako tumitingin talaga. But in terms of eligibility, in terms of parang swak, per pageant kasi, just like a person, merong personality. When they say, let's say you're gonna go to supranational, supranational is a pageant of talagang rampahan. That's how people envision it. As a matter of fact, there's not much of a Q&A. Isang beses ka lang tatanungin, hindi pa siya sobrang kasing hirap na Miss Universe.
Parang casual interview.
So kailangan talaga yung supra natin, yung
So, model.
Model.
Matangkad,
Yeah.
magaling maglakad.
That's why I think we won our first. That's why I think we won our first Supra with Mutya. Because when you put Mutya on stage, as in, whoa, she's on fire every time. So I think perfect siya for that pageant. So I think yun yung mga parang peculiarities that the pageant organizer in the Philippines must be able to know. Like from my personal experience, when we did the first year of Miss World Philippines in 2017, we were very lucky because the first placer was Laura Liman. So she went to Miss World, of course. Yun yung automatic. But the second placer to the fourth placer, which is Win-Win, Fia Tomalia, and Sofia Sinaron, were placed in the best pageant that they can represent, and they all won their specific. Sobrang swak sila sa mga pageant na yun. So we came home with 3 crowns. Right? So sobrang perfect talaga. So dapat yung organizer, they're able to understand what are the international organization looking for.
I feel like with the nuances of each pageant, I think they have to be explained to the judges as well before the competition.
They're the one voting.
And I feel like
And normally
I can do that job. I would love to do that job for free. Because seriously, like if you don't know what you're looking for, where you're gonna send them, I always feel like the Filipino beauty queens, it's like a national team, like athletes. Where you're gonna send them. So where am I gonna put these best players? Where are they gonna win the most medals? And that's something that in the past I think that they failed. So they failed to send the right candidate to the right pageant. So they come home without any. It's not because the girls weren't great. It's because they were sent to the wrong pageant.
Exactly.
And I feel like now we've been getting that right as well.
Yes.
So I hope that continues. But for me, like sometimes, and to be honest, with the Q&A, ako sometimes parang, should I really consider that? Kasi minsan ako, yung pinakamaganda gusto ko talaga Universe. Parang regardless kahit pumalpak siya sa Q&A, Universe ko siya papadala because bahala na sa Universe.
Actually, same ako sa kanya. Kasi I feel like pwede mong i-improve yun
Develop.
You can develop that So talagang ako din, I look at the face and I look at the performance. Pero sabi ko, hindi pwedeng performance lang din eh. Kasi I was looking at my performance in Binibini. I was like,
Does it make you cringe?
Ganon.
Magaling ka naman nun!
alam mo yun, parang kailangan makita mo yung potential eh. Parang mag-i-invest ka dun sa something na hindi pa right. Yes. Willing to learn.
It's like going to the Olympics. You have to perform at the national qualifiers. If you don't perform at the national qualifiers, you don't earn the right to go to the Olympics. So I'm like, that's the that's the spirit of competition. That's the nature of it. So sometimes it sucks. Na parang,
Because your bets.
oh, kasi may, kunwari,
Don't
meron
take the
yung
cut
parang,
sometimes, right?
you know, the underdog that won. But then, that's her destiny. So who are you to question that girl's destiny?
That's true.
So ultimately, you have to perform when you have to perform.
Yeah.
I like the analogy ng Olympics, ah.
Oh, yes.
Sobrang,
It is like a national
yeah,
team.
it
You think
is,
about
it
it.
is, yeah. And they're representing the Philippines, so it's...
Only in very, very high heels. Which is in itself a huge
Or they're trying to
challenge.
change that na 4.5 na lang yung heels
Yeah.
Di ba mas mahirap yun ilakad?
No, it's easier.
It's easier.
Yeah.
It's
Tsaka it's safer.
Alright.
Kasi yung mga platforms are very
ngayon. Ganda yung
prone
bagong...
to...
I would like to commend Jojo Bargais for making the shoes this year. Sobrang...
Yes.
And it
Oh, yeah, I
suit
noticed
every
that.
single
Yeah.
candidate. Ang
Yeah.
ganda ng color, ang ganda ng height, ang ganda ng everything. Sabi
It's
ko
on
sa kanya,
trend.
bibili ako eh.
That's another topic altogether we should talk about.
We should invite Jojo.
Pageant fashion one of
Yeah.
these days. Any closing words?
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
mention about how Voltaire compared it to the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like pageants nowadays, I like the Olympics because it unites the nation. You know, it's everyone because each country sends out their own representative, and it's like the whole country gets behind her.
Right.
You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, yes, there are people, there are bashers, but I think at the end of the day, it brings people together more. So
That's true.
yeah.
And I hope like the rest of the world catches up because I think in the Philippines, the Filipino beauty queens do have the respect and admiration of the Filipinos and the general public, the same way that the athletes do.
Yeah.
And they're not questioned why they're relevant or if they're important because they are. But I think the rest of the world needs to catch up. Because like nobody ever questions why two men are like punching each other and then they get millions of people to pay pay-per-view. Or like then a bunch of guys in shorts throwing balls, like shooting in a basket. Diba? Parang that's celebrated and then like all these commentators spend hours and hours and there is a separate channel that talks about sports and statistics. They talk about sports that have happened like years ago. But then that's celebrated and never looked down upon. Nobody ever questions its relevance. And yet you have pageants, parang every year can question, is it relevant? Is it still ganyan? But like, no, just let us be, let us enjoy this. So someday I hope there's like an ESPN for pageants.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ayan
right?
na.
He will
Okay.
start that one.
Yeah,
day.
right.
Ako naman, I always look back and then say that my life would never be this way if I didn't join the pageant in Binibini because it really gave me like a platform. It gave me confidence. It really brings you to places, diba? But I hope that the girls in the future who are going to join, that they won't lose talaga their, who they are. Because in this world, especially, being a celebrity na rin, it's hard to maintain your core.
Yeah.
So I hope that in the future, even though na magiging parang basketball na ang binibini, like what Voltaire said, I hope that we never forget why we're there and why we're doing this. It has to be, you have to have a purpose why you do things, and to become a beauty queen talaga, it's not an end in itself. It has to be something better parate. So
That's something all aspiring beauty queens should, from Shamsi, no less.
Yes.
Ako naman, I like to encourage everybody, yung mga aspiring beauty queens, yung mga handlers, yung mga mentors, na ituloy-tuloy natin yung passion natin about beauty pageant. Kasi we were talking about it earlier before camera, na we're not yet over. We're still the powerhouse in the world. And let's maintain that status. And we will be able to maintain it by paving ways to a lot of new things. Kumbaga, dun tayo kilala. Hindi tayo like Venezuela na parang sinasabi na may packaging sila. Tayo may sarili tayong sistema. And it really works because we've been winning pageants back to back. And I really admire and hope that the Filipinos will continue doing this and continue supporting our beauty queens, and you have to listen to our beauty queens. Kasi may mga beauty queen natin ngayon, marami sila masasabi, may it be about work, may it be about their advocacies, or may it be about anything else in the world. So it's a good platform for young women to be able to raise a voice, and we have to support them and to be able to give them that platform.
So thank you. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Susunod naman, marami pa tayong topics na pwedeng pag-usapan. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment if you have questions. We'll try to ask them off air. I don't know. We can do a part 2 of this one of these days. So thank you. This has been Bea Copin from the Raptor Lifestyle section. Thank you. Bye.